Great, thanks. As I was saying, I'm the chair of the Yerba Buena Community Benefit District, and in a neighborhood that's home to the city's highest concentration of galleries, museums, and theaters, we don't think there's a more fitting place to unveil the Living Innovation Zone. Right now, we're standing at the northern boundary of the district. It stretches from Market Street to Harrison on the south, 2nd Street on the east, and 5th Street on the west. And we think it's really a place that welcomes people to the city, the cultural institutions, and we see the Living Innovation Zone as a welcome mat into this district. The neighborhood is really known for its ingenuity, its art, and its technology, and we think this is a fun way to combine the science and the art and really show off the city's reputation of limitless possibility. The Yerba Buena Community Benefit District is dedicated to improving the quality of life in our district. The Living Innovation Zone is an example of how the district is working with the city in partnership on the Yerba Buena Street Life Plan. This plan is a vision and a roadmap for 30 different projects, both large and small. This is an example of one of the larger projects. We've done mobile parklets, we've done artful bikes, racks. If you haven't seen them around, they're really cool and creative. In a few weeks, we're going to unveil some public seating and a portable bike corral for bigger events. Our plans also call for a clean energy solar docking station for people to be able to charge mobile devices for free. We're going to improve the alleyways, including Annie Alley is a demonstration project we're working on, adding lighting, artistic crosswalks, and a redesigned plaza at Moscone Center. The goal of these projects really is to facilitate social interaction, promote pedestrian life, safety and beauty, and ultimately community pride. The YBCBD is proud to provide the funding for the Living Innovation Zone and to work with the city and the Exploratorium to design and implement this important project. On behalf of the CBD and the property owners which fund it, I'd really like to thank Mayor Lee and Supervisor Kim for being here and their amazing continued support of the YBCBD's work to help improve the quality of life in the district. I'd also like to thank Lawrence Lee of SPUR, who heads our Streets and Public Space Committee. He has been an amazing champion of these projects and deserves most of the credit for the vision and implementation of these projects. And then I'd like to express my thanks to our staff, Kathy Maupin, our Executive Director, and Andrew Robinson, our Director of Neighborhood Projects, who do so much heavy lifting to get these projects implemented. The amount of work these guys do behind the scenes, you just can't imagine. I'd also like to thank Dennis Bartels and all our friends at the Exploratorium. You have been a real joy to work with and an inspiration. One of the exceptional creative minds we've been working with on this project is Sean Lonnie, Senior Artist and Curator for the Exploratorium. If you would please now welcome Sean Lonnie.
Thank you. We've been out here for 3 or 4 days now installing on Market Street, and I just wanted to remind everybody what a remarkable place this is for the people who live here and walk by every day. This looks like an installation that a design or it's about architecture, but really it's about people. And it's about creating a zone where it's a circumstance. It's a circumstance because the things that we're putting here are really meant to tease people out of their shells and to get them to interact with each other. We joked this is kind of a lot to do to get people to talk to each other, to hold hands, and to look at each other. So we do it all the time. But here on Market Street, it seems like somehow we boxed ourselves in, and what this is it's a zone to kind of unbox ourselves. It's a place for people to be themselves. And when you talk about innovation, it's not just being clever. It's not just having things at your fingertips. It's about a mindset. It's about a way of seeing the world. And I think about this as a tradition of innovation. If you look at these dishes, they were developed 35 years ago by Mr. Doug Hollis over there. And they were a brilliant idea, and they resonated with the museum. And then all this time later, they've been repurposed. And they've been repurposed in a very unique way as a way of enlivening Market Street. And you look at the tinkering bench over there, it was just kind of an experiment that started in a lab. And people found that playing with it by yourself was fine, but if you could touch one and then touch each other and complete the circuit in some way, now you have 2 people involved. It was much more vibrant and much more fun. And so we want to bring the spirit of that kind of creative innovation that we have at the Exploratorium out into the world. And I think Neil and I were talking a while back, Neil Hershow, he's been a big proponent of this project. which is nested within the greater Market Street project. So this innovation is really nested within other ideas. And we were thinking about a time when libraries had closed stacks. If you wanted something from the library, you'd walk in and you'd ask for a book, and then somebody would go and get that book. And that's changed. That changed in the 1890s, 1900s, where now you can just walk in a library and pick out whatever book you want. And you look back and you think, well, I can't imagine that ever being like that. I mean, that now the way that libraries are, they're so open in their community centers, that's normal. And the goal for this really is to make this the new normal. This is the new normal for walking through public spaces. This is the new normal for how you interact with each other as you move through spaces that were before maybe locked up. Now it's kind of a blossoming of place. So, and I want to thank my team, especially before I get off. They've worked so hard. We work in a studio model at the Exploratorium. We have 4 or 5 people on any given project. So the engineers, the designers, Josh Bakagalupji back there has done most of its design work as a volunteer. And so we ask a lot of the people that we have working for us, and then we have these amazing volunteers who help us turn the corner on a lot of these projects. So, and I want to thank Dennis for greenlighting this. You know, the museum does a lot of things in the museum world. This is an extension of what we've always done. This is an innovation, and innovation requires champions. It requires somebody to trust that that's the right thing to do, even though it might seem like an odd thing to do. They trust their people. And so I want to thank Dennis Bartels specifically. And in fact, on that note, I want to introduce Dennis Bartels, the director of the Exploratorium.
Wow. Look at all the energy and people here in the zone already. I'm so excited to be here. When we moved the Exploratorium down to Pier 15, it was never our vision to stop there and treat our property line as where the Exploratorium stopped. The opportunity of moving into the urban environment itself and to sort of spill out and cascade into the neighborhoods was always part of our community image when we got started and moved on into Pier 15. And I just want to thank Sean and his whole team for taking that vision to heart and really being sort of the head of the spear to really start building these wonderful Exploratorium-like ideas throughout the city and throughout the region. You know, it has been our belief always that the Exploratorium isn't just a place, but a way to see the world. And what better way to see the world to be part of it and to bring, you know, parts of these experiences and grab somebody walking along on the side of the street and enjoying it. It's not the first time that we've run an experiment like this, but this partnership is a very, very special one for us. It really represents for us one of the exemplars of a new kind of relationship and working with our very hometown, with the mayor's office, with the Living Innovations idea, with the Make Your Own Market Street idea. This is part of a really vibrant vision that I think is really renewing this part of the city and the creative culture and the creative capital that exists here, which makes it so exciting. So I have a number of people that I need to thank. Just to say again, the Exploratorium is so proud to be a part of this way of engaging with the city. And by the way, it is still an experiment. We really want to see if, in fact, it resonates with the community and the neighborhood and the people that walk by. But this wouldn't have been possible without the Mayor's Office of Civic Innovation or the City Planning Department, a group they've gotten to know very, very well in the last 10 years. The Architectural Advisors for Better Market Street, Gale Architects. The Yerba Buena Community Benefit District, the Transportation Alternatives with funding support from the Summit Foundation. But perhaps the greatest thanks goes to a man that I've really gotten to know very well in the past few months and have just the deepest respect for. It is our Mayor, Edwin Lee, whose vision and can-do spirit and just sort of this bent towards new experiments, new ways of trying to enliven the city and make it welcoming to all of us. This is a masterful vision for Market Street. We couldn't be more delighted to be a part of it, and it all starts with, as Sean said, a champion at the top, and that champion for us has been Mayor Edwin Lee.
Well, Dennis, thank you for that wonderful introduction, and to you in the Exploratorium, and Sean, thank you for your leadership here, and the Yerba Buena Center Community Benefits District for sponsoring this wonderful effort to demonstrate the connection between innovation and one of our most precious streets in San Francisco. You know, I was with Supervisor Kim just a couple of weeks ago in Seoul, Korea, where we were celebrating with the mayor of that great city how wonderful of an innovative capital San Francisco was, that he was even looking at our city and wondering how could we so quickly be engaged in so many aspects of innovation that would kind of be a sponsor to the rest of the world, what ideas that we can come out with. And I know this Living Innovation Zone was yet another great attempt, and I think will be very successful. I mean, where else could you sit here and engage in a whispering dishes across? And I just did that. Even with people in between, you can hear each other across, whisper whatever you wanted to say on the street, or you can go and create a song, connect your body with somebody else and connect and create a song yourself, or for probably the next week, have your image carved into a pumpkin. That was pretty interesting. But there's so many other things that are going on here, and this is what we wanted to do with the Living Innovation Zone. I want to thank Jay and his team to be working with planning and public works and other agencies to connect up with the Yerba Buena Community Benefits District and with our Exploratorium to bring out that spirit of innovation onto our streets. And just think about these experiments being the first of many to bring out the innovative spirit in all the other corridors. Market Street's just the beginning, by the way, and it's a wonderful beginning because we want to signal how important this street is to our city, because this is an international street. This is something that I know John Noguchi and others, when they have the Dreamforce convention, all those people will come down and experiment here what we have, along with international visitors, along with our local people right here. But if you can imagine, when we first started this conversation a year ago with an accelerator in clean tech called Green Start, we signaled a year ago that we wanted to bring this innovative spirit out so that we could pause and suggest that maybe clean tech companies or solar companies or a university or even a sister city can actually demonstrate an innovative spirit, whether it's here on Market Street or maybe on 3rd Street or maybe a corridor in Howard Street or Mission or Taravel and some of the other places around the city, and bring this innovative spirit right to the local setting. And you can have ideas, whether it's a university or another clean tech company, to present that in the public realm and excite people about bringing folks out and having an innovative spirit in all kinds of different ways. This is what I think San Francisco exists to be. This is why we have an innovation spirit. There should be a great openness to this idea. And I, again, want to thank all of the entities for bringing this spirit out, for reflecting what we can do, that we don't create boundaries right now, but we invite more people in to create more things. And it's kind of like what we did about a month ago when I had some Francisco Middle School students help train me to create something on a 3D printer. And they were saying at that training session, when they were training me, that this was a time when it's kind of like, kind of a draft report for them, that we were able to make some mistakes, but create some things along the way so that that spirit can actually thrive in our city. And this is an experiment, as Dennis and Sean said, and we're allowed to make both mistakes, but also allowed to create things at the same time. And it's kind of like government and the private sector prototyping our way forward. This is a prototype. This is where we want to experiment more and more so that that creativity can actually be reflected in everything that we do. And we are allowed to do that because when we come together in the public sector as well as the private sector, we ought to be able to suggest to our education partners, our science partners, our international partners, that this creativity can be reflected in so many parts of our city, bringing out people so that they could open their minds to other ideas. This is, I think, the gift that San Francisco has with all of our partners. And I want to thank you for all the partners in producing this gift so that we can produce other gifts for the rest of the corridors and the rest of the neighborhoods in our city. Thank you and congratulations. innovation zones. On a 3, 2, 1. Here we go.